A little advice. A little advice. Come on, yeah. Just a little advice. Just a little advice with Christine Little. Check it out.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Little Advice Podcast. This is a podcast where me, comedian Christine Little, gives a little advice to one of my guests. It's only a little advice because I only have a little degree. I'm not certified as a therapist, but I do read a lot of self-help, so I'm like, yeah, I can tell some people some stuff. This is episode number 10 with Lacretia Lyon. She's a very funny lady. She is a comedian, and she also hosts a couple podcasts, Mrs. Brightside and Dead Inside, with fellow comedian Jacqueline Pissarro. And we talk about getting up and getting motivated. Is therapy legit or nah? Like, Lacretia doesn't think so, and let's find out why. And podcast related, if you want to talk more about the episode or give advice yourself to one of the guests, feel free to pop on over to the Facebook group. Just search A Little Advice. Join, leave your 2 cents. And if you like the podcast, please rate, subscribe, leave a review. It really helps out the podcast and helps people find it. What else? Do I have another review? I think I don't have any more. Did I thank Jessica? Yeah, I did. I thanked Jessica. So you guys leave some reviews so I can give you some shout outs because it'll be fun for all of us. I think that's it. Oh, I've got some shows coming up. So I'll be in Indianapolis this week. I will be at Crackers Thursday through Saturday with John Heffron. I'm very excited about that. So come see a show. Come say hi. Get a little sticker or something from me. And with no further ado, here is episode number 10 with Lacretia Lyon. Thank you for listening to A Little Advice.
Black name.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
And we are here for another episode of A Little Advice. I'm here with Lacretia Lyon.
Yes, and I am white, guys. It's weird.
Yeah, we were just talking about how she had problems getting jobs because of her name and how racist the world is and how messed up that is.
I know. It'd be funny, too, because the only job interviews you'd get called on, you'd go in and you would be the only white person there. So it's pretty clear that they were like, needing to check some boxes for their company to get tax revenue. Yeah.
That's pretty messed up.
It really is.
That's really, really messed up. I think every white person should be born with a name that is, typically found in, in another culture because then they could see what it's like. Like,
I know.
If you have a white kid, you got to name him Jose. You know what I mean? Just to even out the playing field. Are you leaving, Sos? All right. Thanks for coming. Love you.
Bye. Nice to meet you.
And that's how unprofessional this podcast is.
I went and got up and got tea on one of my last Dead Insides for my guest. While I was like, y'all vamp. And luckily there were 2 people. I was like, y'all talk. I'll be back.
I know, this last episode with Sophia, I already knew something about her, so I just quit listening.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm like, I've already heard this. That's not true. I was listening to her. So, Lacretia, what's your problem?
I have a lot of problems, but I guess we'll just talk about one. Just trying to, been sick a lot lately, and I used to not get sick.
What kind of sick?
Just feeling like all these sinus issues and just wanting to lay in bed, not do anything, and just run down and tired. And it's making me unmotivated to do stand up. Before I was like, oh, I'm going to do this all the time, blah, blah, blah. I'm on podcasts. I'm always going to be on time. And then it's like, where was Mrs. Brightside this week? Or Dead Inside? Nobody knows.
Really?
Yeah.
So you feel like it's because you're feeling under the weather?
Yeah, and two, it could be, as I say, symptoms could be psychosomatic.
It really could be. I think sometimes when you need to take a break, if you're running, your body will make you sick to force you to take some much needed rest.
Yeah.
So, what would you say is your biggest issue within that? How long have you been feeling this way?
I would say a little over a month now. Yeah.
What have you done about it? Have you gone to the doctor or psychiatrist? Or
Yeah, I've gone to the doctor, just checking on it, because I, also had wondered if I had a car accident earlier in the week. So I wondered if that had exasperated, like, anything, because I, like, passed out.
What?
Yeah.
During the car accident?
No, after. Like,
Oh my
literally a
gosh.
day after. But it was just, like, a delayed reaction, because I was so cool and calm during the accident. And I'm like, whoa.
Whoa. And so what did they run tests and
Yeah, and they were like, oh, it's just a delay. You had a panic attack the day after.
you passed out?
Well, I, like, fell over. Like, not really, like, lost consciousness. I was pretty conscious. Like,
Whoa.
and I knew I was like, I need to go to my room, but I didn't make it to the bed. But
Wow. So what did they tell you to do to like
they're like, well, if it happens again, you can come back. It may be worse, but that's just something that happens. But it's probably because we just ball all this little stress up inside of us.
do you get panic attacks a lot?
Not a lot, but I
you-
have before.
Yeah.
That's what I knew what was going on. But
Oh yeah. It really helps if you when you're having a panic attack, if you know what it is, so you don't think you're dying. Because I did. Well, the first one I had, I'm like, I'm dying. I called my mom to say goodbye.
And how old were you?
How old was I? Like early 20s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I'm
you
still
clearly
early
shouldn't
20s.
have been dying.
No, I don't know. I had been sick a lot.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, something happened. My kidney's shutting down and I'm just dying.
Your
And
kidney's shutting
And it made
down.
sense. Yeah, well, I had a kidney infection around the time. So I was like, it's taking over my body and I'm dying. This is it. So, and that kind of seems like, well, your body seems like it's in a vulnerable place already. If you're already feeling sick and then you get into a car accident. And you said you've also been struggling with some motivation issues and stress and depression.
Yes. Suppression.
How long has that been going on?
I am a comedian, so like lifelong, obviously.
Lifelong.
But
Are you in
lately?
treatment?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I do take medication for it, but it's prescribed by a doctor on Venice Beach, so
I see what you're saying.
yeah, know what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Have you gone to a psychiatrist or therapist about this?
No, not lately. Because when I was a kid, I went to therapists, and they sucked. That's why I got a degree in psychology too. Did that happen to you? I was like, what are these? Can I cuss on here?
Yeah, everybody
Well,
does.
I figured, but like, these people are fucktards. Is what I always thought.
Yeah. I did have an experience when I was younger where I went to a therapist with my mom, and I hated the therapist. I hated my mom, and I didn't like it at all. It was only like a one-off thing.
Yeah, like I remember, like me and my brother had to go to therapist because our dad's kind of a weirdo, and we talked about that on my podcast. But yeah, like, and he's like, I love how the dude just kept asking me if mom molested me. Like he's like he's like he was obsessed with that. Like, well, move on, dude. No, like
He's like, all right, your date of birth. Did your mom molest you? No.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was like, God, he just kept like doing it.
And you're how older? Okay.
Yeah,
And
okay.
how old were you when your mom molested you? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Wow. Maybe that was like his training. It's like it's always molestation anytime anyone comes in.
Yeah, and that was the thing is we're like, what is this dude's damage? Like,
So that turned you off from going to get help like now as an adult too?
yeah, like, well, because it's one of those things that if there are a lot of unqualified people out there and they don't just have podcasts, like us. I mean, but the thing is we're admittingly unqualified.
Right.
Like, and, like Anna Faris, I mean, that's the name of her podcast. It's an advice thing too. And that's the difference is people can take what they want out of us and not see us it's
There's
helpful.
not like a level of authority to it. Yeah.
And that stuff to me, because I listen to like Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla, and to me that's therapy. Or like Dax Shepard's Armchair Expert. That's to me better therapy than some of these people. I mean, it's sad to say, and I'm not encouraging people not to go to professionals if you've had good experiences. But because my experiences were bad there and always good more with stuff like this, I just never thought about going, because it can add to your stress. And if you're like on the edge there already, I mean, going to people that maybe not, who don't necessarily understand your situation is not helpful.
Yeah.
And sad to say, a lot of these people don't come from similar backgrounds, so it is hard for them to understand.
Well, a lot of therapists do come from bad backgrounds. Or not
some
bad
do,
because that's why they get into it in the first place. But also there's another level to it too, with like, there's therapists, like counselors, and then there's also psychiatrists who can prescribe drugs, because sometimes if you are and I know this is kind of controversial, but if you are feeling depressed and stuff like that, it could be like a neurochemical
imbalance. A lot of it is chemical imbalance. Right. And that's why, like, more on the medical side, because some people do need medication, but I know like Kristen Bell specifically talks about this too. That is more of like a last resort than a first resort. Right. And just, you tend to find people who are more quick to just prescribe medication instead of just maybe therapy. Well,
psychiatrists probably will do that more than a counselor. Oh, yeah. But if you don't want to go to a counselor and you don't want to go to a psychiatrist, what have you, I mean, I'm honestly not qualified to like speak on depression or whatever. I mean, I get depressed. I'm being treated for it or whatever.
You're a comedian too.
But what have you done, or have you done anything that's helped you get out of that in any kind of way, or like feel better?
Yeah, like doing the podcast that I do, Mrs. Brightside, like helps. I mean, because it's cognitive behavioral therapy. Right. So it is a form of therapy. And as I say, I listen to other podcasts that are like that. And that seems to help. And as we say, I mean, most of the stuff, exercise, like there are so many alternative forms rather than, popping a pill. Or, I mean, if you want to smoke a J, whatever.
And that's what you do?
Or CBD.
And does it work?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But obviously it's not working enough right now to where you're like, this is a problem I'm having.
Yep.
So what would you say, what part of your life do you feel like it's affecting the most that you might want some advice on? A little advice.
I guess job, like, because I have been, we're comedians. We're always struggling to get paid in this business, but we do like other outside work too. And a lot of that outside work is like dried up and everything. So it's hard to like make bills. But then it also seems to be like, well, maybe this is a motivating factor to me to work harder.
Yeah.
And get my ass out there and work for people like Adam Carolla or writing on Last Man Standing or whatever it is. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I need to do better with my job aspect. Yeah.
Your job in terms of like submitting to get those jobs?
Yeah.
Or, okay. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. So what do you have a system now for submitting to those jobs?
Whatever I can, anything I find. And like I did actually get around to finishing a host reel and everything.
Oh, awesome.
And getting more out there, showing that, annoying Adam Girl on Twitter. Whatever I can. Twitter, submitting my reel to things, submitting to agents. And then you're doing your own content with the podcast. Yeah.
Have you thought about like hosting your own show since you have a hosting reel, like doing like a YouTube show?
Oh no, because I did the YouTube thing for a few years, and it's one of those things that there's not really much growth there anymore, and it's one of those things that it's like I have all that footage, and it's like that footage needs to count. And I'm just done with the YouTube thing. But yeah, like I have a project pilot that I've been shopping around too.
Okay, that's great. So it sounds like you're putting yourself out there. You're doing what you need to do. It's just that you're not really getting the results that you want.
Yeah.
And you're feeling...
Yeah, what else do I need to do? Or is there a better tactic? Or...
Okay. Mm-hmm. So... All right, well, one thing that I've observed, because I don't know everything that you're doing and how you're doing it, do you have like an Excel sheet or like where you know like I've submitted to this place and I'm like, are you following up with everyone and doing all that? Okay. So what I could probably help with is like your mindset for all of it. Have you read the book Feeling Good? I always like
I'm not a big reader.
You're not a big reader? Okay.
That's why I like podcasts or Audible, you know. Go to audibletrial.com.
Okay. Not a big reader.
You know,
but
habit when I say that word.
But you can do an audio version of a book, right?
I know. I can listen to books.
So maybe if there's an audio version of Feeling Good,
Yeah.
it's really great. It has like activities in it that you do too to like map your thoughts out and
activities. I like activities.
yeah. Like so you have a thought like with there's no work or something like that, and then you kind of test that theory out. And how does it make you feel that there's no work? What do you feel like when there's no work?
I'm kind of like Peter Gibbons sometimes from Office Space, where I love that there's no work, but then I hate that there's no work because I don't have any money. Yeah, like it is funny because like if sitting around smoking weed and watching cartoons all day was a job, that would be where it's at. But comedian's closest to that. But
Oh man, I wouldn't say that.
Oh yeah.
What about? Well, maybe you could have a Twitch show.
Yeah.
There you go, where you just do that all day.
Yep, that's what I do. Yeah.
So it sounds like you don't even really want to work, but it's just a money thing.
No, I do want to work in comedy. I actually like comedy. That was a joke. Yeah.
What would be your ideal situation in comedy work?
Oh, yeah. Like, I wanted to, growing up, I always wanted to be a late night host. I mean, I know I have the wrong genitalia for that, but whatever. I mean, I'm pretty man-like.
So your ideal situation would be a late night host?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you submit to late night shows, like in terms of like writing packets and stuff?
I have before, and I was waiting for the one to come around again this year, so I'm waiting to mark my calendar because it's usually December when they make the announcement. So I have that in the back. Yeah.
Okay, so there's that. And then I was going to suggest maybe doing your own late night show.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the pilot that I'm working on is like Doperah, and it's not late night, but, you know, it's daytime TV.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, it's like Oprah of weed. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, like, so I filmed some pieces of it and some sizzle reels, and, you know, it's getting there. So, yeah, I'm like, it's close enough. That's what I say. It is, because the idea is to have a live studio audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could put on a live version of the show, too, around the city, like Comedy Central Stage or at a private venue.
Actually, somebody texted me last night about doing the show as a sketch in November for a thing,
Yeah, there's like UCB. You could do like a spank night, apply to do one of those on a Wednesday.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to do something there.
Yeah.
Because, the character, I mean, I did it, like, at Halloween last year. I'll probably be Doperah at one party this year. I'm pretty excited about Halloween coming up. So
yeah, you're really into that stuff.
I love Halloween.
Yeah. You like dressing up and doing the...
Yeah, I'm, like, a big old nerd, and I love gory stuff. Like, I had to stop myself from buying this gigantic Michael Myers yesterday that is life-size and, like, you know, plays the Halloween theme and has a little knife. And I'm doing a motion, even though this is a voice podcast. Sorry, guys.
That sounds absolutely terrifying.
It was cool. And my roommate was like, I'll be terrified if you buy that. And it was like $250. But for that price, that was really a good deal.
Oh, my God. I don't think I'd want something like that in my house. At night, you walk into the bathroom. I'm like, what the fuck? That'd be really, really scary.
And every time you get up to pee,
oh my God. Okay, so
then you pee.
Then you pee.
Yep.
Okay, so you're gonna submit to do a live version of the show.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna submit to?
UCB, you said. Mm-hmm. And good thing this will be listened later, so I'll have the notes you've given me. This is the thing. That's why I like audio too, is I can just go back and listen to it without having to write anything down.
Okay.
But yeah, UCB, Comedy Central Stage. That dude who texted me, remember what that was, and put that on my calendar about doing the sketch, live version of the show.
Right. And then there's like the Pack Theater.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Pack.
And where else? the Lyric Hyperion, Dynasty Typewriter, Improv Lab, Comedy Store. Those are like more stand-up oriented, but they have like theme shows.
Well,
and stuff
I
too.
do stand-up too.
Yeah,
I could like
you could have that as an element to the show.
Yeah.
You could have a comment, like if it's a
that was the
show.
idea, was to like incorporate more comedy and like do sketches and stuff with it, like because it's meant to be educational, but also like fun.
I just had an epiphany, a memory. I did a late night show. I forgot all about it. It was like the Christine Little show. So there's a group of guys at the PAC, Gil Barron and Ben Kirshner. I can't say his last name, but they produce a late night show all around what would be your comedic voice.
Whoa, I want to do that.
And there's a writer's room, and you have guests and segments, and it's like
I know a lot of people.
Show.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I did it. I wound up singing a song at the end, or rapping a song, which was, I mean, it was really out of my element. So it was pretty fun.
I will sing like.
And then they always
and
need,
rap.
and they need people too to be in writers' rooms and stuff. So I can get you in touch with them.
I'm like, that's my dream.
So I think that would be really fun for you to do as well. And then they record it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So
So you could have that to show around and put it in your reel as well.
yeah, that's like perfect. I like that.
All right, cool. What else?
I know. I'm like, you're like helping me. I'm like, I feel better already.
Okay. So you've got that going. Are there any other things like personal wise that you feel like you need a little bit more fire under, or that you want a little advice on?
I'm not real good about like not being single. Like, or do we even want to like scratch that surface?
Wait, not being single,
or about being single? Because I am single, but I like.
You don't want to be?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I ate an edible before coming here. Yeah, like
you're really on brand.
I know. Like, I'm very on the Doperah brand. But yeah, like I am always single, and I'm pretty lazy about getting out there. Is that even something you want to scratch? Because there's a whole mess of problems there.
I'm pretty single too.
Yeah.
So I can recommend you to this love event that I'm going to.
Love
tomorrow.
event? What?
Yeah, it's manifesting your soulmate. So I should
What
have
the
a
hell
soulmate.
is this?
So it's a girl in my mastermind group. She has she's putting on a thing and thinks she might do them regularly. So laugh it up, you single toads. I'm going to have a soulmate soon. And we're going to sit here and host this podcast and laugh in your face. Actually, I'm going to host it and he's going to, maybe bring some snacks or something.
All right.
He's my soulmate. Anyway.
Your soulmate is a woman, it sounds like.
No.
Brings the snacks while you're hosting a podcast.
Well, I mean, it's my podcast. I don't know if you want to do it, maybe.
Yeah, I like guys who talk a lot.
By the way,
I
that was
actually
sexist.
like needy and annoying.
That was sexist.
I know, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But yeah.
You like needy and annoying guys?
I don't know why, but I do. I
You
think.
want to feel needed.
Yeah. I guess.
Have you gone to Al-Anon?
No, I went to an AA meeting
What's
at
so
Comedy
funny?
Store once.
Kyle.
A funny jump.
Yeah. Like, have you ever been to Al-Anon?
Thought about
Yeah. I like needing the annoying guys. Have you ever been to Al-Anon? Is that where I pick up these guys? Like,
Actually, kind
Yeah.
of. I always forget that people aren't in my head and they don't know the jump that I made very, very quickly. I took a quiz recently. It said I had a very high processing time. So not
Wow.
to brag and flex on you hoes, but that's what's up. So I asked that because like when you're feeling needed, it could be like a sign of codependency.
Oh, yeah,
I know
I
you
probably
had
have that.
Yeah, and I know you had like a really like crazy upbringing and
Yeah.
stuff too. So I'm sure you probably got some of that stuff.
Oh, I guarantee
So
it.
Al-Anon, maybe you could meet some other codependent people, and
yeah, that's the thing.
But I
I'm
think-
going to go pick up dudes.
I think it could help with that as well. Like kind of getting in touch with what that is.
Yeah.
To want to be needy.
I love
or
how
want
you
needy.
actually like give real advice. Unlike Mrs. Brightside, where it normally just becomes about pop culture bullshit. I'm just pointing out.
I take this very
Yeah.
seriously. I read a lot of self-help books and I'm really into it.
Wow.
It's like the most like something I'm more as about equally passionate about is comedy. Comedy wins, but this is like I think it's really fun.
Yeah, because like I grew up, love Lyon, Adam and Dr. Drew.
Right.
That's why Adam's my hero, and like I like that they do really actually help people too. Like, and as I say, when it comes to like fans and stuff like that, you help. But like usually the fellow comedians, which like we crap on each other, right? Like we're like. Or just go down a weird path, but I'm like, whoa, you're actually trying to help us?
I hope so. I'd like to. But yeah, I think Al-Anon would be fun to explore.
Yeah.
They say you should go to like 6 meetings before you decide if it's for you or not. But after 6 meetings, you're probably pretty much in at that point, right?
Yeah, like, because I went to AA once to see if I was an alcoholic, and then when I heard...
Do they have a quiz that you fill out when you get there?
Well, no, and also it was at the Comedy Store, so I thought it might be good networking as well. There was more than one reason to go, or else I wouldn't have dealt with that parking situation at 1 o'clock.
Wow.
But, yeah.
Hey, I'm a drunk too. Know of any good shows? I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah. But yeah, that is me.
Actually, a lot of comics are in recovery. A lot of people are in recovery.
That was the thing. I was like, I've heard that Ozzy goes to this one. It was really what I...
Who?
Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh my gosh. Well, it is anonymous, so maybe we should...
Yeah. It was on TMZ about that part. So like that into like some people are out like
turns out Ozzy Osbourne might have a drug problem.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
Kyle just
like,
said turns out Ozzy Osbourne might have a drug problem.
I know, sorry Ozzy to reveal your secrets, buddy.
It's anonymous. Hey, I don't want to get dinged for some sort of HIPAA violation because of this show.
But yeah, so like I'm listening to everyone's story and I'm like, their problem is alcohol. My problem is I drink to solve my other problems. And it was funny. I'm like, is that the right attitude?
That's what alcoholics do.
Yeah, but I was like, no, their only problem was that they drank too much and then caused all these problems. Me, I was like, well,
people drink to deal with their problems too, and then in the process they make more problems by doing it. So
not if you don't leave your house when you drink. That's how I solve the problem. It's drink at home.
Well, then you don't get to go out and live your life because you're drinking. And you're like, I can't leave because I'm drunk. And maybe you missed out on an actual networking opportunity.
Oh, wow.
So,
are you saying that the Comedy Store is not a good networking for that meeting?
I think it could be great networking if it's, when there's comics around who aren't focusing on their sobriety and they're like doing their comedy grind. Yeah. I mean, but what do I know? I don't know. And in terms of that feeling that I'm reading the book I just told Sophia about, it's Power of Habit. And they talk about alcoholism in there too, and other habits that people have, and what their cues are for drinking. And so maybe when you feel a certain feeling, it'll be like your cue for doing a certain thing. So maybe
change the cues and break the habits. Yeah,
maybe like, you have the same.
You have a cue for like getting up and going to work out instead of drinking.
You have the same cue, but like you figure out what it is that you're feeling that's causing that. So say you drink because you feel lonely. Okay. And so when you feel lonely, you get that emotional cue. Instead of drinking, you could do something that helps you feel less lonely, actually, like going to a meeting or calling a friend or doing something else. And that neural groove of that habit of drinking or whatever habit it is, I'm like really, really addicted to sugar, like pretty bad. Like I'll eat a few pints of ice cream. But so that's always going to be an issue for me. That groove in my brain is always going to be there. It'll be there less and I can form another groove to do something else, but that could always be like a potential issue because it's like ingrained in you.
Yeah.
So, trying to figure out how to reprogram that to where you
Yeah, Adam Carolla calls it a rewiring. It's just like I had to really rewire myself not to be a lazy fuckhead like a lot of my family.
You don't have to call yourself a lazy fuckhead.
Oh, I call my family lazy fuckheads.
Yeah. That is the most stoner laugh I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I'm like Seth Rogen if he was a girl.
Yeah, lazy fuckhead. So then also when you call yourself that, you figure out you can figure out what you define as that and how you wouldn't be that. Like lazy fuckhead. Oh, you do this for 5 hours a day, or you do that. What would make someone not a lazy fuckhead? Or who keeps calling you?
Well, I'm getting a lot of spam calls lately.
Oh, the robots?
Yeah. Like it's like God, I gotta change my number.
I mean, it's a problem for everybody.
Yeah, I know. Like
I just block them as I get
them.
them, and then they'll call from a different number.
Yeah, that's me. I'm like, I blocked them. I even have an app that like tells you that's what it is.
Yeah, that sucks. We're getting off topic, but
I know.
Yeah,
because my phone just keeps ringing right here with all this nonsense.
I know. I was like, who is that? She said she's single, but her phone's blowing up.
Yeah.
All right, we've got like 10 minutes left, so I'm going to switch this up. But before I do, can you tell me? I don't feel like I helped you.
You don't feel like you helped me.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm a little too much of a mess.
No, not at all.
Hey, there was that thing about that late night writer thing. That was actually like I was really interested in that. I wasn't just being a good actor like Seth Rogen.
What is with you and Seth Rogen? Okay.
Well, you said I said that I had a stoner laugh, and that's my go-to.
Okay. So, were there any other takeaways that maybe you lacked on?
Oh, I lack on follow through.
No, that you'll act on.
Oh, that I'll act on?
Well, it doesn't sound like you will now.
No, I will go. Remember to text you later about getting more information on doing that late night thing. Possibly doing my show Doperah live at the Comedy Central stage and UCB and a few other spots, and just getting out there more, maybe submitting my stand-up tapes more. See, I do retain information.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad that you've got some actionable items. When do you think you'll be able to do that? You said you're going to text me later.
Yeah. So after I go to TJ Maxx and Target, you said you want to know, after that.
Well, I guess I mean like a timeline for when you'll hit up those people.
Yeah, probably later this evening, and then maybe I have to work tomorrow.
Give yourself a longer period of time, not like too long, but to where you don't feel like crap.
Well, I mean, if I don't get it done by Wednesday, I guess I can. If you want me to spread it out, but usually I try to do things timely manner.
Okay, all right, that's great. Okay, that's the portion of the advice. When we come back in several seconds, we are going to talk to Lacretia, or as I call her, Double L, about her creative process. Little advice. And we are. Am I back? And we are back. Last time I thought we were back, and you're like, no, we're not. So, Kyle with this trickery. Okay, so Lacretia, I'm going to ask you about some of your creative process. What's a small decision that you've made that's had a big impact on your life?
A small decision I've made that's had a big impact on my life.
That's a tough question.
Yeah, I know.
Luck.
I'm like, God.
A small decision or action that maybe turned into something bigger.
I guess it was just recently. I found a pretty good comedy partner just in doing a random job I'd done before, and I was leading this dumb marketing campaign, and then this girl I happened to be working with was just so I was just basically making the small decision to take this, contract yet again to lead this program. And then I actually meet someone who I have a lot in common with and, work a lot with now in comedy. So I would consider that, because I honestly just met her, was it June, end of June? And then we've been working together and kind of trying to keep each other motivated and stuff like that. So, yeah, I would consider that a small decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I like hearing stuff like that, because we never know how things that we're like, I'm not sure if I want to do this or whatever, and it could turn into something so much bigger.
Yeah.
And so that's really cool. Thanks. What's your creative process like? Like when you go to write jokes or write a show idea or segments or whatever it is?
I am always writing. So, like, my phone, hopefully no one ever gets my phone, because it's not the pictures, but the stuff that I write down as part of notes for, like, stand-up. Because some of these things could be, like, horrible things strung together, and then to me they make sense. But, like, But yeah, like, I write everything down in conversations, like, with my mother, my brother, like, just things I think of. So, like, I'm just always writing.
So you get inspiration from, like, living your life.
Yeah.
And then you write it down. And then what do you do with it once you write it down? Do you just say it as is and workshop it on stage? Or do you edit, refine, and... like, what do you do after that?
Yeah, like, honestly, a lot of my practice is, like, just to myself in the microphone, because I'm going to be my worst critic. So, like, and I'm someone who observes a lot of different comedies. So, like, I'll probably workshop it myself, like, and then do a show and, like, hope it works well. Or, like, can kind of tell, like, oh, you know what? I should have done this instead. Or, like, so I sort of workshop it a lot on my own before I even bring it out. And,
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. You get the inspiration usually from everyday occurrences or conversations, and then write them down, refine them, and then try it out on stage.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty standard, I guess.
Yeah, because to me, it's just, I forget who it was. I think it was Phil Rosenthal, who was for Everybody Loves Raymond. He was the head writer there, and he would tell people, like, just go home. That's where you'll get your inspiration from, and then we come back to the room tomorrow. Like, because so many people, and that's what I found sometimes and you can tell with the shows with people who've lived life and who are just, like, writers, like, without, like, and they're writing what they think people are doing instead of what people are actually doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I like that too, because it just makes you feel less guilty about living your life and not just working all the time, because you need that input to make it into something else.
Oh yeah, like, some of the greatest inspiration is, like, from dealing with your family, or, like, just going to, like, Target, or and you
Target.
see where people. I know. Oh, I don't know. I have to go there, and this is, I guess, it's me a subtle reminder.
Ever since you mentioned Target, I've been thinking about my favorite ice cream that I get there, so I'm very triggered. I'm not going to get it though.
What ice cream is it?
Okay, it's it's non-dairy. It's Ben and Jerry's. It's peanut butter and cookies.
Oh yeah, that one's pretty good.
It's so good. You guys are not. You know what it is? Oh my God.
I buy a bag of Jelly Belly jelly beans a month, so don't feel too bad.
No, I eat those like a couple. I think I might get it. Oh man, I messed up.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I triggered you. I'm so sorry. But, and then I'm like, this brings me back to going to Al-Anon. It's like, oh, also, I need to make a note of go pick up dudes at Al-Anon.
Okay. What's the most surprising thing to you in your life as an entertainer? What didn't you expect?
Yeah, like, so much, like, has happened that I didn't really expect, because, like, I sort of always thought that the route to being, like, a late night host was, like, do stand up. So, like, that's what I did in Texas, because that was really one of the only things you could do. There weren't a lot of other, like, comedy opportunities or anything like that. And then when I came here, I'm like, I just kept doing that. But here, like, stand up sucks, like, at a lot of times. Like, well, we're in it, we know. Like,
what sucks about it?
Well,
why are you guys laughing?
Really?
Crushing.
Well, I always, like, I'm so glad there's so many, like, independent mics, and, like, the more people the more it's easier to get and, like, around and get actual good feedback. But here, it was so hard to even get on a stage sometimes, because, like, there's so many fucking people.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. And so, like, it was sort of discouraging. And then this woman, Marky Costello, found me on Twitter, because
yeah.
I had like a decent Twitter following before coming here with my jokes and everything. And then she brought me in to like take these hosting classes, and that sort of pushed me to this AfterBuzz TV thing I did like for a while. And like, it was more just like on camera hosting, like, so a different route. And I'm like, but I always sort of like loved comedy. So I try to do both now. And I feel like doing both actually helps more than nothing. I mean,
so you're into late. So your biggest surprise is that like doing late night.
Yeah, well, sort of learning like that there's other routes.
Than not just stand up. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Hosting, that's an element of it. That's a big deal. Yeah. All right, this is the last one. Besides, where could people find you? But not yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Before your greatest success in this career or your life or whatever, maybe it's with your dorky stuff collection. I don't know. What mental shift, if any, did you have before it occurred? So if you can think of something that you're really proud of or a big success that you've had.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't necessarily count to some people because it hasn't really happened so much. But this Doperah project, I've really worked hard and it's been made a show and it's sort of been all me. And the mental shift that happened is like just before kind of coming up with this and getting into that, like I had like a pretty serious like surgery. And so, yeah, like, and then like anesthesia tends to like bring on depression and things like that.
Oh, I did not know.
And, or at least for me, I don't know if it does for other people. But
I mean, I didn't know you had a surgery. I didn't know that about anesthesia.
Yeah, it was about a year ago. And then, so yeah, just pretty rough. And just, it was like after that, I just sort of made a conscious effort to like not go back into old patterns, like in certain ways, and just really work hard and was working a lot and just focusing on stuff. And I sort of came up with that idea and workshopped it, and I've been trying to like, so, you know, it as again, we know why this industry sucks is sometimes it just takes time, but it's just being able to like have stuff like together and be like,
but like having an idea and
it's registered with the WGA. I mean, that's,
So you've made a lot of progress on this.
Yeah. Like, so it's like my thing that's actually feels like a thing. I mean, and to the podcast as well, but they both are, you know, certainly Mrs. Brightside came out of that, like, as well. Like,
so like your mental shift was like kind of like a reset that you had. Did you have like a realization after the surgery? Like, like I want to do more or whatever.
Yeah, that was me. I was like, you know, what am I sitting around doing this for? I need to be doing more stuff. So that sort of transitioned me a little bit back more into stand up and things like that. Like, you know, all, you know, going on down the line of every decision sort of after that was more like, I need to be doing more. Yeah. And I think lately I just have fallen back into that and have wanted to get out of it.
Oh, that's
like,
interesting.
Whoa, I've like worked myself back to the first problem.
Oh, that's
Good
really
pot.
Interesting. Good pot, is that what you said?
Sorry, it's a Corona thing. Yeah.
So that's really interesting. So you could actually have another surgery and another reset.
I prefer not to.
Yeah. But the fact that you're aware that that's what's happening. And also, I'm doing the artist way. I don't know if you've done that. I know you're not a big reader, but it's really fun. And I was just reading that said that we need those down times to like cook, bake, like when you're like a gestation period to come up with the next thing, because that takes a lot of energy out of you, mental, creative, emotional, whatever, to create all this stuff. So it's like you're going back in the oven and just like trusting that something is going to come out of that process.
Yeah. Now I want cookies.
I could eat a cookie. Man, I don't want to think about my problems. I got some watermelon. It's not the same.
Oh, I love watermelon though.
I like the texture of the peanut butter and and like that there's cookies in there.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a pint tonight.
A pint tonight.
Pint tonight.
It's going to be a pint night for me, but a different kind.
All right.
Yeah. Here.
All right, Lacretia, where can people find you?
Since I'm Lacretia Lyon, guys, you can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet, since there is only one. And I have 2 podcasts as well that are on iTunes and Google Play and all that jazz, Spotify, I think iHeartRadio. And that's Mrs. Brightside and Dead Inside.
Mrs. Brightside and Dead Inside. They're like opposites of each other almost.
I know.
I love it.
Because I'm crazy, apparently.
We all are. And thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of A Little Advice. Please remember to rate, subscribe, share, and if you leave a review, I'll leave a shout out to you on the next episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. I love you, and thank you for listening to A Little Advice.